Welcome to Daily Curiosity.
The program where we discuss an interesting topic and teach some useful English along the way.
Daily Curiosity.
For curious people.
Hello, and welcome to Daily Curiosity. I'm Carl.
And I'm Jane.
Jane, have you ever wondered why we seem to encounter certain animals more often in cities than others?
Yes. I suppose this has something to do with how humans change the environment around them, doesn't it?
It does, and to a much greater extent than many people realize. Recently, I came across a surprising headline that really caught my attention. It said, "Human activity is changing nature in ways that favor disease-carrying animals." That's from a recent analysis of thousands of ecosystem studies. What it suggests is both interesting and concerning.
Yes, I saw that too. At first glance, it sounds a little alarming, but when you read the details, you realize it's actually a fascinating insight into how our cities, farms, and roads are shaping wildlife populations, and indirectly, our own health.
So the study looked at how different animals respond to human disturbance. What did they find?
Well, larger animals, such as deer, foxes, or wild boar, tend to decline when their habitats are destroyed. It's because they can't adapt quickly. But smaller, fast-living species like bats and rodents actually thrive in these human-altered environments.
That's interesting. So does this mean our presence favors the survival of certain species over others?
Exactly. And here's the catch. These thriving species are also more likely to carry diseases that can affect humans. One theory is that because these animals reproduce quickly, they put less energy into their immune systems, making them more susceptible to pathogens.
That makes sense. So it's not just that humans are changing the landscape, it's that we're unintentionally favoring animals that can carry disease.
Right. But it doesn't mean every human-led activity will automatically lead to outbreaks. The risk depends on how often people interact with these animals and how vulnerable humans are to the pathogens. Some diseases rarely infect humans, while others, like Ebola, can be much more serious.
Oh, this is where I'm becoming nervous and scared. I certainly wouldn't want to catch some infection. Were there any practical solutions suggested in the study?
Luckily, yes. One suggestion was restoring ecosystems, for example, by reintroducing predators that control populations of disease-carrying species.
Yes, and there was a practical example too, wasn't there?
There was. In Senegal, river prawns were reintroduced into rivers, where they eat snails carrying the parasite that causes schistosomiasis. This simple intervention reduced infection rates.
That's really fascinating. It shows how protecting the environment isn't just about saving animals, it's also about protecting human health.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that not all animal diseases pose the same risk. Lyme disease, for example, is carried by rodents, but rarely spreads between humans.
So, to summarize, human activity changes ecosystems, which can favor certain species like bats and rodents. Some of these species carry diseases, but careful ecosystem management and limiting contact with wildlife can reduce risks.
Exactly. It's a reminder that our relationship with nature is much closer than we sometimes think.
Okay, let's recap the vocabulary we've learned from this release, starting with a pathogen, a microbe or organism that causes disease.
If you are susceptible to a disease, you can be easily infected by it.
To catch an infection is a nice phrase to say that you can get sick from germs or bacteria. For example, if you don't wash your hands, you might catch an infection from touching dirty surfaces.
The word human disturbance means any change or disruption to the natural environment caused by human activities, such as building cities, roads, or farms, or cutting down forests.
And finally, restoring an ecosystem means bringing a damaged environment back to its natural, healthy state. That's it for today's episode of Daily Curiosity. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to stay curious for upcoming topics and useful vocabulary. Bye for now.
Goodbye.
Welcome to Daily Curiosity.
The program where we discuss an interesting topic and teach some useful English along the way.
Daily Curiosity.
For curious people.